Goldstein.
Groups is either owned or run by Jews. MindGeek, which owns basically half the porn industry. Pornhub, RedTube, Chat48, Wicked Pictures, Vivid Pictures, Grindr, Reality Kings, Brazzers, Tushy, Blacked, I wonder why, Mofos, Xhamster, Buying Bros, Xvideos, Sex.com, Match.com, Tinder, OkCupid, Plenty of Fish, XNXX.com, Slade,
Alvin Goldstein.
Amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Now, if you were to say that was all owned by the Chinese, people might be alarmed. People might go, wait a minute, the Chinese own all of these? What about the Scientologists? It's a Scientologist? Wow, that's pretty shocking. I couldn't imagine that.
How did
the
this
Scientologists would all be so interesting.
How did this happen? Who's funding it?
You tell me.
Yeah, I know. I bet they are. I bet you they are. There's just no way you can have that much control. Where's all that money coming from? It's got to be one of the big.
Well, at this point, it's very profitable. So, like for example,
right, but that kind of profit.
The CEO of OnlyFans, also a Jew, donated like $10 million to AIPAC, who receives money from AIPAC. People like Ben Shapiro.
Right.
Ben Shapiro then goes on and mouths off about people.
All right.
Alleged
Power Mahmoud.
Is a victim of.
Oh wait, I'm reading about this Al Goldstein, and it's fucking hilarious. Listen to this. These are his views on religion. This is on his Wikipedia page. It says, in his 2004 book, XXX Communicate, and actually, this guy's really interesting. A Rebel Without a Shul. Luke Ford. Well, I mean, because he was in the publishing industry in New York City. Like, fucking, he grinded it out, literally. He's disgusting, but it is what it is. Luke Ford wrote about a conversation with Goldstein in which Ford asked Goldstein why Jews were dramatically overrepresented in the porn industry. He answered,
That's right.
The only reason that Jews are in pornography is that we think that Christ sucks. Catholicism sucks. We don't believe in authoritarianism. Pornography thus becomes a way of defiling Christian culture, and as it penetrates to the very heart of the American mainstream, and is no doubt consumed by those very same wasps, its subversive character becomes more charged. Ford then asked, what does it mean to you to be a Jew? To which Goldstein responded, it doesn't mean anything. It means that I'm called a K-word. Ford also asked, do you believe in God? Goldstein said, I believe in me. I'm God. Screw God. God is your need to believe in some super being. I am the super being. I am your God. Admit it. We're random. We're the flea on the butt of the dog. Friends with Larry Flint.
Those that are not Jews but call themselves Jews. Anyway, but let the record show that they hate Christianity and everything to do with it. And they, in his own words, the only reason that we Jews are in porn is that we think Christ sucks, Catholicism sucks, we don't believe in authoritarianism. Amazing.
Listen to this.
Becomes a way of defiling.
Listen to this. Goldstein married 5 times and had a son, Jordan Ari Goldstein, his third wife, Gina. According to Goldstein, he and Jordan had a close relationship until the Goldsteins divorced. They became estranged after Al called Gina a contemptible vagina. Life in Florida. Have you looked at this guy's Wikipedia? It's crazy.
Unfortunately, I've not read it all, but unfortunately, I have read this before. So again,
he's obsessed. He's obsessed.
People can be offended, but yet they cannot call what I've said lies. Where's the lie?
I tell you, I had no idea that many were on the holy smokes. You gotta ask yourself, hello, you there? Yeah. If there are that many, where are they getting? Okay, I'll be. You know what? I won't be too direct, and I won't be too subtle. Where are they getting the money to buy these websites and companies?
As I said, at this point, these things are the money. These things create the money. Porn always has been. But the most profitable.
It is very profitable, and there's usually a high premium to buy it. Are you
sure? But given the fact the majority of them own it, which means that they go on to create new brands and whatever, it's very easy. Like this it's no different than any other hierarchy system where the more is attracted to those that are the most successful in any realm.
They're finding a way to direct traffic to those.
I think they are the most deeply motivated to create such an impact in the world.
Anybody, any Joe Schmo can do a porn site.
Incorrect.
Right?
Not in the fashion that they have. Incorrect. No, not true.
No.
Any Joe Schmo can get his phone out and film himself fucking his wife.
Right, and there are websites that they're downloaded.
But this is
People
a very
download them.
to create a platform likes of such of which Pornhub.com, to create a network of companies the likes of Vivid.com or MindGeek that they own multiple porn networks, big porn networks like Bang Bros or Brazzers or Reality Kings. Like, these are not simple things to pull off.
Wait a second. You're acting like this is the 1960s of Hollywood. There's only a few production companies. Come on, man.
When was okay? Who? Let's look at. Bro, I don't know the fucking porn industry in and out, but I guarantee if we were to look at it, the majority of the people that own the talent agencies are also Jews. Therefore, they control the supply, right? They control the production. Back in the day when they had to create the manufacturing of VHS, the actual CDs, they controlled the manufacturing.
You're also
it's a literal fact. They talk about it themselves. I've watched this fucking.
You're also under the incorrect impression. You're also under the incorrect impression. There is a huge supply of women willing to do porn today than there was in the past. Yeah,
I haven't made a position on that. I said that I don't know for certain, but I would.
A Republican comedy show world premiere 2025.
In the talent agencies that provide talent to these networks.
I'm telling you, there's a huge supply of women. Hello?
I don't remember bringing that up.
No, I'm telling you there's a huge supply.
Hey, tell me this. Where's the supply? Because Jews are so overwhelmingly, as we've established, they're so overwhelmingly involved in porn.
Listen to this.
Where's the overwhelming amount of Jewish women in porn?
Honeysuckle Divine was a Times Square stripper whose specialty was inserting objects such as pickles in her vagina, shooting out many of them. She put the pickles in baggies and sold them to patrons. Goldstein said that her act was unbelievably disgusting, so naturally we made her our symbol.
It's amazing. Where's the Jewish women, genre of porn? Surely being so overrepresented, there should be everywhere, right? Where? What was it called? The keyword? Like, I'm not aware of it.
No, they have them now. They have.
Is it kosher porn? Like, what's it called? I don't know.
I don't want to say it because the replays are on. It's quite embarrassing. The title was rather offensive, so I walked away. I was like, what is that all about? I was like, well, it was rather demeaning. But then again, that is porn in some ways. In many ways, I love it. Yeah, in many ways. Well, I don't know. Some people say this expression.
It's so prevalent that no one even knows that. It's amazing.
Yeah, I don't even know how to define it because some people say it's art. The actresses and actors will tell you. Someone will say it's an expression of art. Okay, fine.
Yeah. Spreading your legs is definitely art.
Then someone the religious right will say no. Not even religious right. Religious right is absolutely is morally wrong. But then there's some people who say it's demeaning to women. See that?
I personally, if I look between, let's say there was a couple who wanted to record their activities and publish it online. I have less of a problem with that than I do a girl getting passed around an entire industry, and whether she is aware of it or not, being pressured into doing a multitude of things, which ultimately the industry chews them out. And most of there's a famous one, this fucking, I was gonna say something derogatory, but will not. What the hell's her name? She's on some podcast recently, and she's talking about this incredibly harsh scene, and someone cuts part of the scene into it, where basically they make her he pisses in her mouth. She it throws up into a bowl, and then he makes her drink it again. And she's one of the most highly successful and big porn actresses, or whatever her name is. It might come to me in a minute. I don't know, I'm not into her. But she talked about having to see the psychological effect that this had on her, but into the moment, and either the crew or the camera, whatever it all was, she just went along with it under the pressure of being on the talent or whatever. I can't remember what fucking word she used, but she's talking about needing therapy for what it is that she was subjected to. And that's not taken into account even the multiple partners, or the multiple partners at once, or the multiple ethnicities.
Well, it just destroys the soul. It destroys her consciousness.
Recently of this girl who tried to fuck 100 guys in a 24 hours.
Yeah, well, didn't she have a husband too?
And that girl's in that clip, and her you can tell her her soul.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Her name is Lana Rhodes.
That's the one who threw up in the bowl or whatever, and fucking it, whatever that that's how that clip, right? And she's it's so funny. She's trying to reinvent herself. She's trying to reinvent herself as a podcast girl or something. So
I know. In the meantime, she's a 20-something multi-millionaire.
100%. But yet also completely miserable and needs therapy. So do you want to sell your? It's doing the devil. You're doing the deal with the devil. Do you want to accept the money and then
Ooh, Dr. Australia is here. Dr. Australia, I'm wondering if you could give us, second-to-second live analysis of Dr. T-Robs in the Republican Comedy Room. Thanks, Dr. Australia. Your notes are greatly appreciated.
I can see
how
I see how depressing it could be in her position. And some because when you're young, you really don't have that really of a good judgment of some of.
Yeah, you're learning through experience.
Yeah, some of the seriousness and ramifications of the choices you make.
Okay.
For example, you don't think about
what usually protects the young from those choices in society.
Parents and education.
Okay, so what happens if the parents and education are corrupted?
Well, then the children will become corrupted, of course.
Oh, okay, so who controls education and who is destroying?
The taxpayers, the voters, they control the education, we're told.
We're told. Who controls the legislation and the judiciary and the law firms themselves?
The lawyers.
Who are the lawyers?
The lawyers, they are a bunch of people who are very good at writing letters generally, and they can pass what's called the LSAT test. They go to law school. The next thing you know, they are divorcing you. They are suing you. They are fucking you up the ass. And boom, here we are right now in the Republican Comedy Room. And guess what? We went live on our new YouTube channel, Republican Comedy. And we have 18 live stream viewers and 2 thumbs up. I don't know if they like my bald head and my annoying accent, but here we are right now. As I ice my eye because my eye is swollen.
Who is advocating the most historically for liberalizing the divorce laws? Which does that strengthen or weaken the family unit?
The divorce laws. But people make mistakes when they get married. They weren't meant for each other.
Who is overrepresented in the judiciary?
Oh, my sound is turned off.
Oh, well, right, until Ginsburg died. And then
that's just the Supreme.
The Republicans were holding their breath, hoping that she would croak before the end of the Democratic term. Before the end of the Republican term. I'm sorry.
I don't know about that, but looking back on it, I actually think, and listen to me, I have a lot of criticisms of Mr. Trump, but he was caught off guard. Who couldn't have known, and the press are the ones who actually informed him, and freakily enough, this
much higher caliber than most Muslims. So.
They will go after you and they'll destroy your girlfriend, dude.
Well, hold on a second. So I'll just say I'm half. There is like kind of a reason why this bias exists. You look up like Islam in Corsica. Look at the fighting that went on there, and look at. We didn't allow you motherfuckers to have a mosque.
Bro, that's the Mediterranean, man. You guys.
Yeah, I know. And
that's the game of the Mediterranean.
Yeah, I know. But you guys would do raids. Basically, our when it comes to the Christian Corsicans, you know what their interactions solely were with Muslims? Was literally you guys doing raids and taking some of the people as slaves and going back to North Africa.
Bro, who's on the Corsican flag? Who's on the Corsican flag?
It's a chopped off Moor's head. Look it up.
Yes, exactly.
A chopped off Moor's head. So no. Pablo ended up. No. Hold on a second. Pablo chopped off the head of a Moor. Okay, a pirate, and they use it as their flag. But they literally are anti-Muslim, anti-Moor. That is their history.
Hold on. To be clear, and I can speak to this. That pirate who was problematic in Corsica, probably Algerian. So like
exactly, I was going to get to that, but wait.
But he was definitely a fucking Muslim. I mean,
listen, Pepe,
and a pirate.
Pepe, I was in Calvi in Corsica, and I hung out there a lot, and I can tell you, the Corsicans, they hate the French just as much as
they're nationalists. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's the people that.
But they also hate you. They also hate the North Africans that live there too. They see you guys as a problematic.
It's the Mediterranean. You're gonna go to Sicily. You're gonna find the same energy. You're gonna go to any one of those islands. You're gonna find that energy.
You're not gonna see it. You're not gonna see it the same in fucking. In Sicily. Sicily has a higher percentage of Christian people. Even though Sicily was a caliphate, the immigrants that ended up moving to Corsica ended up moving there much later. And so these are not like rape babies, I guess, like you can say, that you would see in Sicily that ended up ultimately becoming Catholic. So it's a much different scenario.
I'm just saying the Mediterranean has a history of raids back and forth on both sides.
No, they don't. Like, who the fuck are you kidding? Like, you're really starting to piss me off now.
No.
When did the Roman? Hold on a second.
You guys, bro, the French colonized Algeria for 200 years.
Oh, sure. Oh, okay. So we ended up using people as putting them in the galleys and using them as fucking slaves, like the Berbers did, and throwing them overboard once they were too sick and weak. Like the North Africans were much different from the Southern Europeans. There is a difference between our religions where we cannot treat people the same way Muslims can. And if you look at like the fourth largest mass casualty event that happened in world history was the Islamic slave trade, where they ended up taking a bunch of Africans, they ended up castrating all of the fucking males. Okay, and then raping the shit out of the fucking women.
Woke right now, bro. You're acting like Europe
it's
never
not,
did any
It's
of
not
this.
woke, but that is what
bro,
you fucking people
like Europe
did.
Doesn't even like Europe never did any of what you're saying.
We did
It's the
that
same
shit.
thing on both sides. That's my point. I'm not saying.
Yeah,
that
but
side
you guys
is
are
good
fucking
and that side
worse.
isn't. You're trying to say.
And you guys still are no fucking different. Europeans aren't using a sword to fucking threaten you.
Pepe, you're losing the argument here. Walter's right. It went both ways, and you're right. They are worse.
Bro, that's why the Jews felt safer on the North African side.
Shut up.
Only at points in time.
If you've got a point there, Pepe, I mean, do you guys have gates, a Toledo style place?
Yeah, but Diego. But Diego.
No, but this is an important thing, right? Like, we have to acknowledge the truth. Like the Mediterranean, there were raids going both ways. That is true. That is absolutely true.
You know how you can tell, Pepe? Like, what is the epithet for Muslims in Corsica? Think about it for a second, and then translate it.
I don't know it offhand.
All right. Well, in Spain,
We're gonna listen in. This is called The Goyim Stole the Torah's
But for
Vowels.
Jews, it's marrano.
This is your good friend, Dr. Diego.
That
Which
is
means
not
kind of like-
true. That is not
But there's
true.
like
Welcome back
Marrano,
to
but
another
so
exciting
in French it'd be
episode
Morocco.
That is not
of low
true.
IQ dumb
Marrano
people
means
talking
pig.
about nothing, wasting all the time.
But that sounds more like dark. That sounds like more like dark skin. Like
No,
No,
Marrano
he's trying to
means
say
no.
this is
not Morano. I'm talking about like so like the
No.
Spanish was-
Diego's trying to pretend everybody around him is stupid.
no.
All right, look,
Jeff,
don't Google it.
Jeff, which side were the Jews safer on?
Walter
I
has a
lived
point.
in Spain for 12 years.
But Diego, regarding this
Just
point,
for 1 second, Pepe.
Hold on.
Stop yelling, for fuck's sake.
Yeah,
So,
let
I lived
Isa
in Spain
speak,
for-
and then we're gonna ignore Diego. Go ahead, Diego.
I lived in Spain for 12 years. Like, most of my family is Spanish, and I have never, ever heard anyone call Jews marranos. So stop making shit up.
No, I do not.
Okay,
Just Google it. Anybody can just Google it.
What Diego is confused about, because he's a moron, is that in 16th century, new Christians that were Judaizers were called Marranos. So he's bringing back a 500-year-old term and pretending that that's the epithet today in Spain.
No. I'm using history. It's true that no one is using that epithet today. The point here was to make the point to show who the Spaniards thought the enemy was then.
And no one ever used that against the Jews. They used that against new Christians that they forced converted, and then surprise, they didn't convert them because it was under the sword. So if you're going to try to use something, no, that's exactly true, and that was the entire 15th century, and that's why Pope Pius IX tried to protect the Jews in Rome because he didn't agree with forced conversions. So before you say another stupid thing, learn your history, because you're an idiot.
Okay, my argument for which side is softer or whatever, or which side is worse. Which side did the Jews feel safer?
It depends on the
and
century,
Walter, it depended on the year and it depended on the place.
And it depended on the century. So you are correct.
And the profitability, too.
You are correct that in 1492, many Jews that suffered from the Inquisition went to Muslim lands.
But even before 1492, they were on Muslim land.
but no, here's
No,
but hold on.
no, Walter. Before 1492, the Muslims came onto their lands.
Iberia was Muslim.
Yeah.
Conquered.
No, hold on, Walter. Let's go back a little further. Even before Islam, the Jews were in that land. Like Islam, like the Islamic conquest, the Muslims came and colonized the lands the Jews were in. North Africa, Spain, Saudi Arabia.
Confusing the groups.
No, I'm not confusing anything.
He's not. But the thing about the gates.
Dick hurts.
But the thing about the gates of Toledo.
Diego, my family is from Toledo. Pronounce it right, you
Nice.
fucking stupid man.
Okay, but if you look at the gates of Toledo, what ended up happening is, and even which is weird, is even anti-Semitic professors that have now been fired will admit this. Jews were treated horribly in Spain. The Muslims actually treated them better, at least in Spain. They treated the Spanish at the same level as the Jews for the most part, but they treated them much better. Now, I mean, it's yes, you could say it's a stab in the back, but they're kind of like stabbing in the back a group of people that treated them worse than the people they were welcoming in. And so, it's really dicey.
It's just a question of who started it, right?
But Christians don't have. Okay, but if we're being realistic, Christians don't have the.
Christians back to my point of both sides.
But Christians don't have the best track record of treating Jews well.
Who said it's really a question who started it?
Pepe just proved my point about both sides were the same, and both sides were.
No, they weren't. No, I mean,